So I'll just start by introducing myself first, because Chetan, who is the founder of the Himalayan Writing Retreat, he usually does these sessions. So hi people, I know there's no Chetan here today. My name is Jessica. I'm the social media manager of the Himalayan Writing Retreat, and Chetan is out of town, so I'll be conducting this FTC 11 session. Please give me feedback as well. I'd really appreciate it. Great. So today we have with us Sudha Mahalingam, the author of The Travel Gods Must Be Crazy. Okay, this book. It's a Penguin published book. And oh my God, where do I start? What has this woman not done? Okay, she's gone trekking up the Annapurna. She's gone bungee jumping. She's gotten lost in the most remote and dangerous of places. And she's done all of this in her late 60s. So that is extremely commendable. Not only that, she's had a full-time decorated career in the energy sector. She was actually on the National Security Advisory Board as an energy member that advises our Indian Prime Minister. So big whoops there as well. She's also married and has 2 children. So how she's managed to do all of it is a wonder. But yeah, she's led an adventurous life, and she continues to live an adventurous life. And the culmination of that life is this book, The Travel Gods Must Be Crazy, published by Penguin. So Sudha, it's so great to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, would you like to, introduce yourself or say anything else about?
I really don't know. I just bumble through life. That's what I feel. I never really planned anything, and things just happened, and I'm like a bull in a china shop. Having said that, I'll say this for myself, that I believe in carpe diem. Just go seize the day and do whatever you want to do. There will be lots of obstacles. And when I was growing up, my mother used to say something which stuck with me quite a lot. If you want to bathe in the ocean, you can't wait for the waves to subside. There'll always be waves. You just have to jump in and bathe in spite of the waves. Similarly, in life, there'll be lots of waves of obstacles, objections, other tasks, assignments, diversions, distractions. But I think you should still go ahead with whatever you want to do. So I think unself-consciously and subconsciously, I had imbibed my mother's message and practiced it in my life. That's the only introduction I'll give. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's quite an introduction, Sudha. Thank you. And that brings me to my first question, actually, which I think I've already mentioned. So you had a full-time job, right? You traveled extensively. You wrote about said traveling, and you also dabbled in a lot of travel photography. And you had a whole other full-time life going on as well. I mean, you must be superwoman. I mean, how did you manage to do all of it together? Like one can say or dare to say that you had it all. So how did you manage, especially as a writer?
Writing is not a problem for me, but for a lot of women in this group, I would say that get your household in order. So once you have what I was very lucky during my productive career, say about 20 years, I had pakka household help, somebody to take care of the cooking and somebody to take care of the rest of the household. So I know, unless you get that out of your mind, you won't be able to do things. A lot of women just get caught up in that. I know it's very difficult to find household help, and sometimes it's expensive, but it's worth the money. And one can be a little tolerant of their flaws and misses and faults and so on, because that frees you up for creative hobbies, creative engagement. So my household was well taken care of. And my sons, yes, I gave them a lot of time, but I didn't have to worry about whether the meal will come to the table in the evening when I come back from office and so on. Actually, in addition to this, I was also studying throughout. I'm also a lawyer by training. I have a PhD in economics, but when I married, I was only a postgraduate. Then I enrolled in a full-time MPhil course in a very good institution. After that, I started working. But when we came to Delhi, I enrolled in a evening college LLB in Delhi University and got myself a degree. And after that, now recently, I got a PhD degree at the age of 68, 69, whatever. So I've also been studying throughout. I think the one thing that, apart from, of course, getting your household in order, the one thing that you need to pack a lot of things into your life is passion. If you're passionate about something, you will always find the time to do it. So I think if you are passionate, whether it's, traveling, whether it's working, whether it's gardening, cooking, whatever it is, I do all this. I do a lot of cooking. I do a lot of gardening. And of course, I travel and I write. I write also. So I'm able to do all this because I'm passionate about each one of these. And if you have passion, you will somehow find the time. My jobs, yes, I gave 100% to my jobs also because I enjoyed doing them. It wasn't a drudge for me, whatever I did. And when I didn't like, or when I hit saturation point, I quit that job. For instance, I was in journalism for 10 years. At some point, I felt the burnout. I moved out of it. And that's when I started doing energy. And I started specializing in that. Serendipitously, when I started becoming an energy professional, conference invitations would just flood my inbox. Soon, because I got into the field, and that is also just chance. I won't say it's all planned and I was very great and that's how I got all this. Nobody in India was working on India's energy security. I happened to stumble into this field, and I became the first person to write academic papers and publish in refereed journals and so on. So I became the voice of energy security for India, which meant I started getting invitations. I go and speak in one conference, and then there are so many present there, they will invite me to the next one and next one. And it just went on like that, pyramid kind of. So I was in a way lucky. This chosen field, not that I planned it, but it so happened I got into this field, and therefore I got a lot of opportunities to travel. I can tell you that I come from middle class. I couldn't have spent my money and traveled to all these places, 73, 74 countries, and many 10 times, dozen times, 6 times, so many times, many countries. I couldn't have gone on my own money to any of these places. Maybe a few I would have probably taken a package and gone. But all this was possible basically because I happened to be in energy at the right time. And the other serendipitous thing that happened to me was that I had a very flexible work environment wherever, I was not in IT where you were just, like you were tied to the office for 8 hours, 10 hours. And even when you come home, you're taking calls. My daughter-in-law is taking calls even at home. After work, she comes back home and still on call. So I didn't have to do all that. I had flexible work environment, maybe because I also belonged to an earlier generation where, there was a work-life balance. And our bosses and colleagues were a lot more sort of indulgent. And so I got the time to travel in addition to the conference. So if a conference was for 2 or 3 days, I would take another 3, 4 days or sometimes a week to travel to other places nearby. That's how I managed to pack in a lot of travel. That meant my tickets were taken care of, my visas were taken care of, and a lot of logistic arrangements, at least for the first 3, 4 days, were taken care of. And then I could extend my stay. So that's how I started traveling. And then when I came back, because I happened to be in journalism, I thought, why not write about it? And those days, Colleen and Hugh Ganser, 2 people, they used to be travel writers in the Hindu. Apart from them, nobody wrote about travel much. So I thought, why not I write? I started writing when I was a journalist, and then it continued. But when I joined Energy, then, I traveled quite a lot. And every time I came back, I recorded my experiences. So because you love what you're doing, you don't think of it as a burden. You don't think, oh, I have to do this. So whenever I get time, I just sit and write. That's it. And writing came to me naturally because I read a lot.
Thank you so much, Sudha. So, like you mentioned, that you were a journalist before you came into the energy sector. So it's not like you were a stranger to writing. You were already pretty familiar with the lay of the land. So when it came to actually publishing the book,
Hmm.
who did you first approach? Like, did Penguin approach you? Did you approach them? How did you land the publishing deal? Can you walk us through the process?
No publisher approaches you. I
Okay.
think I didn't even know, and actually I didn't know any of the publishing houses. So what I did was, Penguin, of course, is a well-known name. So I went to their website, read whatever they had written there, and read very carefully. And they wanted a proposal and 3 writing samples. So I posted it on their website. I uploaded the whole thing, waited and waited and waited, maybe a month, more than a month, couple of months I waited. No response. They call it some dirt pile or something like that, slush pile.
Slush
Slush pile.
pile. Yes,
Yeah,
slush
they
pile.
don't look at it. Nobody looks at your slush pile. I didn't know all that. Then when I didn't get any response, I was lamenting to a friend of mine. Penguin never took me seriously, and he's a sports journalist. He said, oh, is that so? Let me call up my friend and ask him to take a look at your proposal. So he called up. I don't know who he called up. He must have called up because immediately I got a call from them. And within 2, 3 days, I got a contract from them
Wow.
on email. Within 2, 3 days, because they read the sample chapters I had sent, they realized this was something very different from, what the usual travel writing that you see. And
Yes.
therefore, I got a contract. And they were not offering me very good money. It was okay. I thought maybe I had no clue about how much publishing earns for you. So I thought I should be making maybe, because you read about 50 lakhs and 60 lakhs. And I was thinking I was going to get at least maybe 10 lakhs, 12 lakhs. But I got a fraction of that. It was later I learned it was not bad, but I got an offer. I consulted a few people. Then they said, oh, that they are giving you money is great, take it. So I read through the fine print of the contract, and they were giving me some 9% royalty or something like that. I didn't, actually, I don't write for money. There are many people who write for money. I had a full-time job and I was earning good money in my profession. I didn't need, and my husband was also earning at that time. So I wasn't writing for money. So I said, okay, even if it's not great, I'll take this. And later I realized that it's a great thing to be published by Penguin. And that too, they offer you upfront your advance payment. And I'm also getting royalties now, by the way, because it went into second print. So that's how it happened, because of the intervention of Vijay Lokapalli, whom I have thanked in my introduction, I think, in the book. He was a colleague with the Hindu when I was working there. So I just casually mentioned, and I think it works through contacts. Otherwise, they won't look at your slush pile.
All right. Thank you, Sudha. Coming to the title of the book. So, the first thing I remember thinking was I was very intrigued by the title. So, guys, if you can see, the title of the book is "The Travel Gods Must Be Crazy."
Mhm.
Now, after having read the book, I get it, but is there any backstory as to how the title came about? Like, how did you choose this title, or did your editor suggest it? Like, where does this intriguing title come from?
Editor. The
Oh,
title came from my editor,
editor.
Richa Burman. And I had nothing to do with it. We did toy with a few other titles, but then finally she came up with this, and I thought it's okay. I mean, I didn't realize the importance of titles so much. I just thought, okay, what's a big difference? But then now I know the title is very important. is important. And Richa had put a lot of thought into the title and she had chosen it. So that's how it is. I didn't have any contribution.
Okay. Yeah, because I think your editor's done a really great job because the entire title, folks, is The Travel Gods Must Be Crazy, Wacky Encounters in Exotic Lands.
Yeah.
So the minute you read the second half, that is very intriguing. It draws you in because once you do read the book, you do realize that, you know what, this is not your average travel log. The
Mm,
title definitely does the book justice.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely do pick up a copy. I will insist. I loved reading the book.
Thank you.
Since I
Mm,
have the book here, I would like to show. So, like I mentioned, Sudha also does a lot of travel photography. So, if you look at the cover, the upper half of the cover is a twilight dusk based image, which is a random image taken from Unsplash, and the latter half, the bottom half of the image, is actually taken by Sudha. This picture is taken by Sudha, and her caricature, which is, I presume is Sudha looking at a map with her back to us, is designed by Akansha Sarma. That's the name of the designer. So that's a very well put together and very unique and very different cover that came together. So my question is, why? So you've been to like one too many places, right? So why did you choose this picture? Why this one in
I didn't
particular?
choose it,
Oh
Jessica.
my god!
No, I didn't choose it.
No.
Richa wanted me to show her a lot of my photos. So
Okay.
both of us sat in India International Center and we went through on the same laptop, we went through a lot of my pictures.
Uh-huh.
And whatever she wanted me to send her, I clicked all that, put it in a folder and gave it to her.
Okay.
And she must have chosen this. I think
Uh,
it's quite evocative because these are the roofs of Toledo.
ah,
Toledo. So she has a wonderful eye. She has a knack of catching the reader's attention. She has a knack of coming up with the app title, and she was the one who chose the photo, and
oh,
her team did the cover design and so on. So I don't have any contribution in this.
okay. Thank you for that honesty, though. But it's a great picture, definitely. The detailing is amazing on the cover.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So on reading the book, I realized that you've titled the chapters according to the years, right? So one is from 2007, one is from 2017, another one is more recent, another one is way back in the past, and there is no particular order as such in the book. There, just
Mm.
suddenly you're in 2005, and then suddenly you're in 2018, right? And it's a whole different place. It's a different continent. It's a different country. So, first off, like this is a two-part question. Number one is, amongst all of your travel anecdotes, how did you decide which ones to put in the book? Which ones were, hilarious enough to put in the book, and which ones weren't? Like, I'm sure your editor had a say in it, but when you submitted the book proposal, you must have had, an outline in mind, right? And second of all, what was with the naming the chapters after years, and was there any order to them, or was it a random order, and who decided the flow of the entire book?
Again, for your second question, Richa decided the order. It was random. I
Mhm.
don't think there was any pattern to it.
Right.
Um, and I think, every journey has the ridiculous and the funny side to it. It's not as if I'm sort of very amused when I read all those, travelogues which gush about places and all that. I think there is always a fun element. There is always something that's not quite right, something that's ridiculous. And why do people shy away from revealing all that? Travel need not be glamorous. I just realized that travel is not glamorous as it is made out to be in all the travel magazines and so on. They have these glossy pictures, tables groaning with Michelin starred, stuff, and all swaying palms and resorts and all that. Travel is not about that. Travel is not about resorts. Travel is not about properties and hotels and all that. That is just a convenience. You stay there. Travel is about being out on the street, mingling with the locals, and seeing what is happening on the ground. Travel is knowing about the politics of the country you're visiting. Travel is not just glamour and beauty and eating and stuff like that. Travel is about what is the politics of this country doing to the people? What kind of freedoms do they have? What are their aspirations? So you do your homework about the country's political situation. You do your homework about the ethnicities. You do your homework about their culture a little bit, and then go there. You enjoy much more. Whereas we are all caught up in ourselves, it's my pleasure. So I'm just going there. I'm going to go to a spa, get a massage and eat nice food. That's not travel. That's a holiday. That's not travel. That is tourism. What I did was not tourism. What I did was travel. So I realized there is a funny side to almost every journey. And so I just selected, there are a few more, not just funny alone, some dangerous ones also. So I thought these will be of interest to readers. Not the, gushing ones. Oh, this place is wonderful and the beaches are pristine and, the sea is blue and sand is white. And who wants to know about all that, You need to relate to the people. You need to relate to the ground realities of the place. So that's what I focused on. And that's how these stories came about. Richa had nothing to do with the selection. I decided what I would write upon, and I gave her a list of destinations. And then I wrote about it. As I wrote, there are a few others which I didn't write about, which are also equally funny. But I just sort of forgot at that time to include them. So I decided only wacky ones will be in the book. And my book is going to be different. It's not going to be like any other travel book. That's how.
Wow. Well, you definitely achieved that. I like kudos. I'll hats off to you for that, I'll say. So as a writer, you mentioned that every time you would come back, you would write about a particular journey. So you must have kept an extensive travel journal or diary throughout the years, I'm assuming. So my question here is, since we're at the First Draft Club and we're all trying to, write more, write better, can you share your, writing schedule with us? As in, when do you best write, or how did you write on your travels, etc.? Just anything about
I sit here and write where I'm sitting and talking to you.
Okay.
I don't have any particular place or time or anything. Actually, I've written 4 books by now. I did a coffee table book on Mustang, which is a Tibetan kingdom. That's also been published in 2019. Then an academic scholarly book, which is pending with Springers. It should be coming out anytime now, maybe next 1 or 2 months. That is on energy regulation. And the 4th book is about my musings, which is, I don't like to call it memoirs because it's grandiose. I've changed 17 jobs in 40 years. So it's about a liberalizing India and a ringside view of not only a journalist or an energy professional. In all my jobs, I had a ringside view of how India has been changing over the decades, especially liberalization. I was a journalist on an eternal high at the, from 91 onwards. And I was seeing from very close quarters how things were changing in our economy. So it's more about India. It's more about economy. It's more about the personalities that shaped a liberalizing India. I've had the good fortune to interact with quite a lot of well-known people, not just politicians, scientists, quite a lot of people who have shaped India today, as it is today. So I thought I will put that down in writing. So the last maybe 2 months or so, I was writing this. Every day I would write about 1,000 words. And the book is already done. I still have to look for a publisher for that book. So 4 books I've written. There is no particular time. Whenever I get time, I just sit and write. Sometimes I don't stay late. I don't need a total silence to write. My husband will be doing his workout in front of the TV and I can be working here. So, or I can put something on the stove while it's cooking. I can write a little bit, go back, stir it and come back and write. So I don't need any particular environment to write. I don't go to any retreat to write and so on. I just make do with whatever is available. and not much is available, I can tell you that.
Thank you, Sudha. You've extensively talked about what it was like traveling as a woman back in those days, So, do you want to tell us what it was like as in, pre-internet times, when our society was even more tightly bound and was not as forgiving? So, what was your experience like as a woman traveling solo?
I'm very sorry to disappoint you. I didn't have any, just because I'm a woman, I didn't have any special experience.
Oh, that's great.
I'm not conscious of my gender at all. I don't know. I realize that I'm a little different from the others. I'm completely, oblivious of my gender when I'm in the workplace or so on. So it's with the same attitude I went everywhere, and I didn't have particularly bad experience. I mean, any man also could have had that kind of experience. Not because I'm a woman. I never had that kind of experience. But having said that, I would say that I didn't put myself at risk by going to, scary places late in the night or something, except once or twice. If you've read my Rome chapter, you would know. In Rome, I was caught unawares and I had to go with a tout in the middle of the night in a car, opening so many gates, and I was not sure where I was going, but there was no fear that, something is going to happen. It was okay. I don't think I had any particularly scary experience because of my gender. That's also to do with my attitude. Yeah.
That's really great to hear, especially in the current times that we live in. So, thank you for that. All right. So just last question for you, and then we'll open up the question answer round to the participants. So if you have any questions, please start, putting them in the chat box. Just asking you for any writing tips that you would want to give any aspiring travel writers like yourself here to the group, because there's lots of variety, right? There's a travel log, there's autobiographical travel writing, there's journalistic pieces, there's going and covering it for the sake of a magazine. So anything that you've learned about travel writing yourself, etc. Any tips that you would like to give to aspiring writers?
Yeah, if you want to do travel writing, I think you have to look for a unique angle to hang your peg on, and start with that and try and get, perspectives that others don't get. You don't have to write flowery language and all that, it doesn't have to be. Very direct method of writing, I think, is the best, because the reader can connect to it. If you're going to challenge the reader with your highfalutin English and so on, many of them just get bored. They'll put away the book. So just connect with the reader. For that, you have to be earthy. You have to be on the ground and write things that readers can relate to, rather than, making it too exotic. Okay, that's too exotic. It's not for me. I can't go there. I can't. Don't write that. Nobody wants to read that. No, people want to read something that they can also do. And I honestly and strongly believe that what I have done, anybody can do. There is nothing special that I've done. I don't claim that, it's something extraordinary. What I've done, anybody else can do. So I'm able to write in a style that relates to the reader, and they can laugh with me. I take them with me. So that's how it has come about. Having said that, I just want to add one more point. When I first started doing travel writing, my husband thought I was doing faltu stuff. Why is she doing this? I mean, travel writing, it's so silly to write about travel. She is an economist and she is a lawyer. She has to do, professionally, he was very supportive of me in my career. But travel writing, why are you wasting your time? That's what he used to ask me. But I just ignored him and I kept sending stuff. And as they got published, some of his colleagues would come and tell him, oh, I read your wife's piece in this magazine or that newspaper, and it felt as though I went through on that trip and it was so good. Then he started looking at me with a new eye. He started respecting travel writing also. Initially, he didn't. My sons did, especially my younger one was very, very encouraging of whatever I did. But my husband didn't value travel writing. And then at some point I decided, I work for Frontline magazine. I don't know how many of you read Frontline. It has excellent photographs. It used to have excellent photographs. As a reporter in Frontline, whenever I met a source, I would tell them I'm from Frontline. The first thing I would hear is, oh, it has such beautiful photos. Array, I'm working so hard. I'm writing reams and reams, and I'm doing investigative journalism, and they don't read it. It's 2,000, 3,000 words. Nobody has the patience to read it, but pictures hit you. And so they say a picture speaks 1,000 words or something. So they only look at pictures. Many people look at pictures. At that time, I thought, Acha, okay, you think pictures are good? I'll start taking photos. Then I went and bought myself one of those SLR cameras, and I started taking pictures. And I haven't looked back. I kept on upgrading my camera, and it's heavy. It's very cumbersome to take it. I take even a tripod. It's become quite a luggage for me now. But I persist in doing that because I think two things. When you come back and see your photos, you remember much better everything. And then your photos also get published, and you get even more money than what you get just for writing. So I just started both these things together. And but it took some climbing. It was not easy. Why do you waste so much 60,000 on a camera? Why do you want to do it at this stage in life? Blah, blah. But you just ignore it and do what you want to do.
Thank you, Sudha. I just quickly want to read a paragraph to everyone from the first chapter titled The ABC of Trekking at 60 Plus. It's from 2017. And it's like Sudha said, this chapter is about trekking to the Annapurna in her 60s. Okay. So throughout the chapter, she's just getting stuff like, and I quote, Mataji, are you all right? घर में पोता पोती के साथ टाइम बिताने के बजाय क्यों कष्ट कर रही हो? Okay, so the chapter is full of like funny commentary like that she's actually received as someone who's 60 plus and trekking the Annapurna, which is a very difficult trek, right? But when she actually reaches the top, and the mountain descriptions really resonated with me because, as you know, we're the Himalayan Writing Retreat, and anything regarding the mountains, and we can't not pick it up. So I'm just going to read you the description of the mountains when she finally completed the trek and reached up there. When we reached our final destination, there was still 15 minutes to go before sunrise. In the pale glow of dawn, shadowy forms shuffled towards the ridge that was already populated by a dense concentration of heads silhouetted against a graying sky. Annapurna and her magnificent siblings were still clothed in mist. In a few minutes, a shaft of gold pierced through the mist on the east to reveal the crown of Annapurna South. The shaft moved sensuously to caress the peaks one by one. Varaha Shikhar, and then the grandest of them all, Annapurna I, before moving west to its three younger siblings. Soon the shaft became a flood, and the whole range was illuminated in a dazzle of molten gold. In the next half hour, it turned to silver. It was breathtaking, figuratively this time. All the huffing and puffing over the previous week became a mere blip in our memory. This was so beautiful, almost poetic. And the descriptions are usually what I find really boring in travel pieces, because I'm rather like, you know what, I'd rather just see the picture or just, put in a short video for God's sake. It's like you said. But the descriptions here are so rich, they're so colorful. It's like your husband's friend said, you really feel like you're there. You can imagine all of it. You can see the picturesque scenery before you. So that was just a little glimpse from the book, and going to questions from the participants now. Vaibhav says, mind-boggling energy, Sudhaji. Okay. Shalini is asking, Sudhaji, could you elaborate on what energy you are mentioning? Also curious to know your husband's role in your travel and writing journey.
What energy? I'm an oil and gas person. I'm quite a gas bag. Nothing to do with renewable energy. I was a petroleum regulator. I specialized on energy security and geopolitics and so on, which is basically oil import into the country. Electricity is another area. My last job, 3 years as a chair professor, I was only working on electricity. So energy is basically conventional energy that I work on. My husband's role in travel and travel writing, zilch. Travel, yes, of course, he looked after the sons when I was away. And he never mumbled or grumbled that I was traveling so much. And I would come back from one and very next day I would be off to the next conference. I think he encouraged all that because that also meant that I was accepted in the international community as an energy professional, and that meant a lot to him. So all that was good. It was just travel writing he was critical about. Otherwise, I had his support throughout. And yeah, that's the role he played. And of course, he reads my travelogues when I write. The book also he read only after it was published. A lot of things he reads only after they are published. And my youngest son is the one who gives me critical inputs. And he is really interested. He writes much better than I do, but he doesn't write at all. And he reads and tells me you could have put it this way or that way. Even my photos, he says you should have focused on this and not that and so on. He gives me good critical inputs, but not my husband. He suffers me. That's it.
Okay, Shalini, I hope that answers your question. Zia asks, I really loved one of the first points you made about having your household work taken care of. The hustle culture and the glorification of doing it all really blindsides us. What will be the title of the fourth book you talked about, the one that is about the museums?
That's a good question because I haven't thought about a title. I called it Musings. I made a closed Facebook group, mostly of academics and scientists and all that, my friends. And so I ran it through them. They've been reading. I only called it Musings because I was musing about my past. I haven't thought of a name. First, let me find a publisher. It's not as if just because first book was published by Penguin, I send it to them immediately, they're going to jump at it. No way. Every time it's an uphill task. I have sent it to Penguin. Editor got back to me. That editor is gone. Another editor got back to me saying that she will take a look at it and come back, and she hasn't. So I send a gentle reminder every now and then. If she doesn't, then I will look at other publishers. So it is an uphill task. I haven't thought of a title for it. I may have to rewrite parts of it because real personalities are involved. And I need to get legal clearance for this because you don't want defamation, slander, all that slapped on you, libel. So, well, it's a long way to go. The last book, 3 books are out under my belt. Yeah. 2 books are already published. Third one will be published anytime now. So that's done. 4th book, I don't know.
Wishing you all the best for both of them, Sudha.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Next question is from Shalini. Do you suggest writing for what sells and what people would like to read, or do you recommend writing for what you love writing?
It depends on what you want out of your book. A lot of people write blogs where they write what they want to write. Okay, blog is where you write what you want to write. But if you want to publish a book, you have to write what people would like to read. Otherwise, what's the use? You sell a few hundred copies and nobody reads it. So many people have taken my signature on book, even my neighbors. Many of them have bought my book. They'll bring it to me and ask me to autograph it and so on. But they haven't read it. What's the point? You want to be read. So write something that readers would want to read. Don't write for yourself. If you want a book, please write something that people would want to read. And if you're going to write a novel, I'm sure there are many of you wanting to write novels, please put some politics in it. Otherwise, you won't find a publisher. It has to be political. It has to be, well, you can add the feminist angle. You can add the caste angle, you can add the crime angle, you can add the political angle. There has to be political masala if you want to be read. So mm, I think you choose what you want to do. You can blog what you want. Nobody reads blogs.
All right. Thanks, Sudha. Vaibhav has another question. Sudhaji, how do you change gears between different forms, journalism, academic, book, as each has a different expectation?
Yeah, it is tough to transition. Journalism is the easiest thing. You just float. Journalism comes naturally to one. You just write. But if it is academic, you have to watch every word. And very often, even my PhD thesis supervisor said, I want to take the journalist out of you, because you tend to run away with your imagination when you write. So that you have to rein it in. And scholarly writing is quite a different ball game and very boring. But I had to plod through it because I just felt if I didn't write that book, nobody else would. So I spent a good maybe 6 months writing that book. It was tough. But now I'm back to my journalistic style and I'm very happy with it. It's so much easier.
Wow. All right. Aarti has a question. Balancing work and travel and writing, did you have to sacrifice social life and sleep to keep up? Also, thank you for sharing. I'll read the comment later. That's all right. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, I sleep good 7 hours continuously every day. Some many days 8 hours. I go to bed by 10 and I'm off to sleep by 10:30. I'm snoring and I wake up by 5:30, 6 in the morning. My sleep will never be compromised for anything. Yes, I do have a very good social life, but I don't go out of home. Even yesterday we had I'm on the 3rd floor and I have a terrace on top. We had a terrace party in the night, went late into till 12 o'clock. So social life is good. And since now I live in a slightly out of town area in Bangalore, commuting to the city is very difficult. As long as I was in Delhi, I was meeting people in flesh and blood. But now, no, it's either phone or more, also social media on Facebook and so on. So I think I have a limited social life on social.
Sudha, Sudha, your screen is. Hello, Sudha, can you hear me?
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, sorry, your screen froze for a second. Can you just repeat the last part, please? So I think we lost you around meeting people only on calls or social media ever since.
Yeah, that's basically because I'm not, I live far away from Bangalore city. I don't live in the city center. I live in a rural area. Rural meaning it's only about 30 kilometers to the city center, but it's still quite far considering the traffic. So I don't go out much. But we do have a group of people here. And sometimes we just, drive to a cinema hall and watch a movie or go to a restaurant for lunch and so on. I'm not complaining about social life. I do have a social life. Yeah, it's okay. What I have is enough. Otherwise, it will interfere with the rest of my life.
Great, Sudha. She also says, thank you for sharing the real experiences with publishing houses. It is helpful.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any other questions? All right, I guess that concludes our question answer part of the evening, Sudha. Thank you so much, for being with us.
Thank you. I just want to know what your, cohorts are writing about.
Oh, definitely. Does anyone want to share what they're writing about? We're actually up 710 words this week, which brings me to the word count writer. If anyone would like to share, I'll just share screen quickly. So we maintain this word count tracker, right, for the First Draft Club, and total words as a cohort that we've written right now is 24,500 and 24 lakhs.
No, 2,45,000.
2,45,000. Sorry, I can't do maths to save my life. which is why I got into literature, by the way. That's a
Hmm.
whole other story. But yeah, as of now, this week we've written as a total, as a group, we're up by 710 words.
That is
And
each 710 words each.
no, as a group, as a whole, the entire First Draft Club community
Hmm.
has written 710 words this week alone. Last week they had written a lot more. They had written like some almost 13,000 words. And our total right now is up to 2 lakh, the amount that you read.
Hmm.
So yay, that's great. And I don't know if Ramanujay is here with us today, but he had a target of writing 30,000 words, and he's already finished his target. He's written 31,000 words. So yay, go Ramanujay. Is he with? I don't think he's with us today. But yeah, does anyone else have anything else they'd like to share or talk about, what difficulties they're facing in writing or what else they'd like to do?
Anybody writing fiction?
Yeah. Guys, please feel free to speak up. Writing stories. Oh, Kirti says she's writing stories. Yes.
Hmm.
And she says, thank you for your time, Sudhaji. You are awesome. Okay. Valley says, I write fiction. I can talk. Yes, Valley, please go ahead.
Hi, I write fiction. At the moment, I'm working on novellas. I just had one published. I did it self-publishing because I knew I could either run after publishers or I could focus on my writing and improve my writing. So for the moment, I chose that. And I do my first draft here and then I just shelf it for a few months and work on it. So my second book is also almost ready. And I like to come here because I write 1,000 words every day as a mental exercise or whatever. And I like to be a part of FDC because I get to meet amazing authors like you.
Yeah, yeah. All the best. Congratulations. And good luck with your next book. Yes. Love meeting you all. And let me wish you all the very best. You don't have to wait my age till my age to, get your book out. You're all doing it early in life, and I'm very happy about it. And keep writing and keep reading, much more than writing. Reading it is what sharpens your writing skill. So read a lot. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Jessica.
Thank you so much, Sudha. Thank you for making the time for us. And thank you for those valuable insights, really. And keep writing, keep reading, keep traveling more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vaibhav has another truly inspiring Sudhaji. Thank you so much, Sudhaji. A lot of thank yous and inspirational comments and lots of compliments for you in the comment section.
Thank you. Just one request. If any of you read my book, please
Yeah.
write an honest review on Amazon or Goodreads, wherever. Honest, because I just don't promote anything. I don't go after publicity. I don't chase Litfest or any such thing. I think if a book is good, it should attract good readers and good reviews on its own. So if you feel it's good, and even if you feel it's bad, please go ahead and write a review. That's it. Thank you.
Thank
I'll
you,
take
Sudha.
your leave now.